Hey everyone, Noodle here. It's 3 a.m. and I'm up making this video for you after having done a 7-hour live stream earlier today. Well, yesterday, I guess. I'm up and hyped on coffee because I am super excited to share Fallout 76's hot new shelter with you, the Radiant Remedy shelter. I decorated this thing top to bottom, testing budget limitation, light budget limitation, light performance, and scanned it for glitches and surprises. Some things blew my mind in a good way, but as always, there are quirks and limitations. However, I have some amazing decorating ideas for you, including making fireplaces out of regular walls and setting up a fully functional bathhouse with running water and fish. The shelter in question, the Radiant Remedy shelter, is our top item in the Atomic Shop this week. It is available as an individual purchase for 1,500 atoms and as part of our main bundle, the Radiant Remedy bundle. I highly recommend that you get the full bundle. It's only 500 atoms more than the shelter itself, but you get so much other stuff with it. In fact, every single item in the bundle is available as a standalone purchase, and just the chemistry workstation is 700. 700 plus 1,500 is already more than the bundle price. It's a no-brainer. Just get the bundle. The things in it are insanely cool. We get the apothecary glowing sign. The shelter itself, of course, by far the coolest chemistry station we've had yet. An absolutely freaking gorgeous stash box. These plants, which I was very confused by, and I'm still torn on them. These plants are floor decorations. They're not actual plants. They don't actually grow. They just come in this Papa Tomato, Mama Tomato, and Baby Tomato form, and that's it. And I'm confused about them because in this picture, they're placed in a dirt tile, in a farmable dirt tile inside a shelter, and we can't actually place farmable dirt tiles inside shelters. So shenanigans, stuff that they can do that we can't do. There's no reason to use a photo like this. Additionally, we get these candles. These are also insanely cool. The only thing about them that some people may not like very much is that you have to walk up to them and click on them every time you want to light them up. So consider that in your decorating ideas. Me, I only use 2 of them. I buy and test these things every week so that you can decide easily and with all the information provided whether this is something you want to spend your atoms on. These episodes are only possible because of the super chat donations and memberships. So thank you so much, everyone who sponsored this episode with your gifts. When I first walked into my brand new shelter, I was immediately pleased to see just how much lighting it already comes with. This is highly unusual. Here, I can see that even without adding any of my own lights, this is already quite decent. Yes, there are some dark corners here and there, but we also get amazing skylights. This shelter comes with 2 of these skylights. Very refreshing indeed. I also like all the textures. We have some crumbling dust and dirt falling from the ceiling at all time. Permanent animations in the shelter. Amazing. We have cobwebs, very realistic cobwebs all over the place. Another thing that jumped out at me is how different every space is. This is not a copy-paste shelter. You walk from room to room and every nook and corner is a little bit different, a little bit unique. We have these gorgeous roots that are growing through the walls. We have water, actual flowing water that you can drink. We have mushrooms and moss. And of course, the biggest surprise of all, we have 3 stories with these adorable stairs leading down. On our second story, once again, we have some surprises, different shapes and crevices. We have archways, and on the very bottom level, we have even more root structures, another pond, and I was completely blown away to discover that we have fish in the pond. Actually, both of the ponds on the second story and this third story, I'm counting them down. First one being the top, then second, then third. The ponds have fish in them. How freaking cool is that? At the moment, I was not able to interact with the fish in any way other than to film them, but we know that fishing is coming to Fallout 76. Soon we will actually be able to fish. This is obvious foreshadowing of that, but the big question is, once the fishing mechanic launches, will I be able to fish in my own pond? How cool would that be? I mean, I can drink the water. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to fish my fish. What do you guys think? Okay, so it's easy to get excited about all the pretties, all the shinies, lots of new features, lots of new looks, but let's try to be objective here and notice some areas of concern. My two main areas of concern are the floor and the walls. I'm not even concerned about light budget at this point because I see that there's so many lights already included. But the floors do have a lot of root structures, they do have dirt mounds piled in the corner, and the walls are curved in many places, and that may introduce some decorating complications. This shelter is pretty much designed for plants, so my first tip for you is to use plants. We have many plants in the game already. I don't know how many of them you own, but this goes to show that it's a good idea to collect as many unusual items as possible so that you have enough to choose from in your library. The new Papa Tomato, Mama Tomato, Baby Tomato plant is interesting, but it gets boring pretty quickly. It gets repetitive. It looks quite plastic. It's a nice touch here and there, but having other plants really changed the whole look of this place. I used potted plants, I used actual trees, shrubs, shrubbery. I even used my carnivorous plant bed. Yes, I know it's called the spore bed plant, but come on, it is a carnivorous plant. It literally eats you. My second tip for you is to use floor tiles if you really want to put things up against the wall. My concern about the wavy floor with mounds of dirt up against the seam of the wall and the floor was legit. And in some places, I was not able to place my workbenches nicely up against the wall. They were hovering because of those mounds of dirt. It wasn't a big problem everywhere. Actually, in most of the shelter, I did not have an issue at all. But in this room down here, I had to create this extremely elaborate display for a single workbench. This is like the world's most epically lit workbench that has its own room, and it was really bothering me. I wanted to display this particular workbench, but there's no way to put it up against the wall without it hovering, so I had to use a floor tile, and that is an option. The floor tiles work very easily in this space. You can use them in other rooms, you can tile the whole floor if you want, and that way you don't even have to worry about things hovering. My next tip for you is to use dividers. Even though this space is beautifully laid out and we have some interesting rooms, some of them could use more definition, more division. Here on the second floor in my bedroom area, it was a little bit too exposed, so I had to use a divider to separate it from the main hallway. For my dividers, I really liked using the plant vines, the wall vines, and I'm also a big fan of using fireplaces and fireplace parts as wall dividers, especially this stone fireplace. My favorite trick in this space, though, was turning these little nooks into fireplaces. Simply use your basic light underfloor decor. Make sure to always have these. They're amazing. They're underfloor decor, so they don't cost you any light budget, and they make a huge difference. Just stick a single one of those shining coal lights in there, and voila! A fireplace on a budget. The one thing that I did not like about decorating this place is that I was not really able to interact with the water in any shape or form. My original vision for the bathhouse was to have the pond very well lit, possibly have some things floating on the surface, but my ultimate vision was to have the green ultracite crystals inside the pond so that the water would glow from within. I found no way to get lights inside of the water, and that was a little bit of a letdown for me. The ponds are cool. They have a lot of really interesting reliefs and details on the inside. And the fish are also extremely cool. They're a novelty item. I wanted to see them better. It would have been amazing to be able to light the water from within, but I couldn't. If you guys have a chance to play with this, if anyone knows how to glitch merge a light into this water in the shelter, please let me know either in the comments below or in our Discord server, Vault 42. We have an entire section for camp building. My favorite part about the bathhouse, though, is my fully functional shower. This is a shelter, so water is not allowed. We can't place our sinks and anything with running water in shelters, nor can we place any resource collectors. But I was pleasantly surprised to discover that this shower that I bought last week belongs in the miscellaneous structures category, not in the water category. So I can actually have a fully functional shower with running water in my bathhouse. How cool is that? I was pleasantly surprised to have filled all 3 floors of this shelter to my heart's content, not holding back on anything. And I only used 1/3 of my budget. 1/3! That's insane! Seeing how I decorated mine and knowing that you can stuff 3 times as many things in here, imagine all the possibilities. All of you who like merging things or decorating with a million tiny objects on the shelves, this is your playground. As far as light budget goes, those of you who know me also know that light budget is my biggest pet peeve in this game. We have a separate budget for light and it's much lower than the overall limit. I always run out of lights, especially in shelters. I even go out of my way to use light sources that belong in different categories like floor decor so that I can get a few more glowing things in my camp. Not here. This place is already pretty decently lit. I walked around slapping my new ultracite wall lights everywhere without a single concern for budget. And then I finally hit my limit on what was literally going to be the last light that I was going to place. I kid you not. Just the one last light and I was going to be done, and that was it. I hit my brick wall. That's pretty amazing. My shelter is well lit on all 3 levels, and I never had to compromise on the overall aesthetic. So there you have it, boys and ghouls, the Radiant Remedy Shelter. Fully decorated, top to bottom, fully functional, and fully lit. I am beyond happy with this purchase. In my professional shopper's opinion, this is by far the best shelter we have ever had in a game. It's the perfect size to decorate. It's also the perfect arrangement to decorate. Small rooms, each with its own personality and shape, and that makes it very easy to come up with thematic ideas for each one. And it also comes with fish! I was so thrilled to discover fish in my ponds, and I cannot wait to find out if I'll be able to actually hook them one day. One final quirk that I discovered on my way out of the shelter was that I was trapped. I ran all the way up to the door and I'm like, wait, how do I get out of here? And that's a minor detail that they could have done better, but hey, it's honestly, all things considered, it's too tiny to even care about. The option to exit to Appalachia appears right here in this doorway, and you can easily run past it, and then it's not there anymore. That's it. Tiny, insignificant little detail. In my walkthrough, you probably noticed a ton of camp items from the new scoreboard. I will absolutely review all of them individually in the videos to come, so stay tuned for that. I've already unlocked the full scoreboard, so I have it all for you. Once again, super special thank you to everyone who made this episode possible. Without you, I would never be able to afford it. I love you guys, and I will keep the reviews coming. Noodle Pants, one half of Game Aviator, and until next time, stay ghoulish out there, Vault Dwellers.
Virginia, where the shadows creep and sway, lies a land of rusted dreams, where the brave dare not stray. Appalachia, oh, it's a treacherous ride, with dangers untold and nowhere to hide.